For a change, let's today have a quick, small timeline type overview about the history of China and how China converted from being an empire to a communist country. If you see the history of China, China has been a great empire for ages. However, things started to change in China very rapidly in the early 20th century. In 1900, China went through what we call the Boxer Revolution or a Boxer Rebellion, in which there was a full fledged rebellion by the people against foreign influence, which was increasing in China. In the year 1905, the Chinese nationalist Dr. Sun Yat sen formed a revolutionary alliance with the main aim of promoting republicanism. For 2000 years, China has been ruled by emperors and monarchs, and these monarchs and emperors were absolute monarchs. They were absolute rulers in China. They had no mercy. They were not answerable to anybody. And pretty much for more than 200 years, they lived actually in the Forbidden City where common Chinese were not even allowed to see the king. Dr. Sun Yat-sen wanted to end this. He was a Western-educated Chinese who has lived in America and Britain for a long period. Now, in 1911, Sun Yat-sen's party finally did what we call the Xinhai Revolution, in which the Qing dynasty, the last emperorship of China, was ended, and power was removed from the control of Aisin Puyi, the emperor of China, and because by that time, the last great ruler of China, Empress Cixi died. In 1912, Sun Yat-sen became the provisional president of China, expecting that China will become a republic, with Yuan Shikai, one of the warlords, becoming the most important guy. However, this early phase of republicanism failed. It was a terrible failure, and Yuan Shikai, one of the warlords, attempted to seize power and tried to re-establish monarchy. Things started to change very rapidly in the 1920s with the founding of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, in Shanghai. Because in 1925, the last great nationalist leader of China, who was acceptable to every faction, died. And Sun Yat-sen's close associate and descendant, or you can say political descendant, Chiang Kai-shek, created a political party or a political grouping called KMT, Kuomintang. So naturally, as of 1925, China had two groups, the Communist Party of China and Kuomintang. Between 1926 to 28, Kuomintang occupied most of China, reunited almost all the China, defeated CCP in many provinces and many regions. In 1930s, everything changed in China. In 1931, Japan invaded China. Japan occupied Manchuria, created a puppet state called Manchukuo, with the Chinese emperor Aisin Puyi as the ruler. Between 1934 to 35, the Long March where CCP retreated with 6,000 miles and attempted to establish a base in Yan'an province. By 1937, the Nanjing massacre happened. Japan invaded China. Japan occupied most of China. And eventually, for a brief moment, the Chinese communists and the Chinese nationalists, the CCP and KMT, joined hands together against Japan. 1945, Japan was defeated in World War II, and Kuomintang lost control of most of China because communists went on a great purge. They attacked the nationalists, and eventually the nationalists escaped to Taiwan. Chinese Civil War resumed between 1946-49. The Civil War went on between Kuomintang and CCP, Chinese Communist Party. Communists gained full control, and in 1949, on the 1st of October, Mao Zedong, the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, founded the People's Republic of China in Beijing. And Kuomintang eventually retreated to Taiwan. Taiwan came to be called the Republic of China. Beijing became the People's Republic of China. As of today, the People's Republic of China claims Taiwan as an integral part of China. And Taiwan claims that no, they are a sovereign, independent country. Albeit, most of the countries do not agree with the Taiwan's policy. CCP still aims at creating one China policy. That is, there will be one China, that is the People's Republic of China.